This is Thursday, June 8, and I'm doing a garden update. And this is the entire garden. Everything's growing really well, very pleased. We've had a couple of thunderstorms in the past week. And as far as the electroculture goes, I'm going to show you what I see. Here's one of the antennas I've got in the right-hand side of the garden on the south side. It's about a 5-foot pole, maybe a little taller. And the zucchini is planted there's two right around the pole, and they are huge. And two next to it are really good size. And right beside the zucchini is the yellow squash, and you can see, I mean, they're doing good, but they're not as big as what the zucchini plants are that are right next to the copper pole. So I think I'm going to make some copper coils and put in the ground by this squash to see if that will help them grow just as well as the zucchini are. The green beans are doing beautiful. These are rattlesnake beans that I planted this year. And I don't see any pest on them whatsoever. And they're just so lush and green. My shadow's getting in the way here, the evening sun. My bushel gourd plant that came up is doing really good, but I think I'll put a copper coil on it. And I had another one that actually sprouted that I had reseeded over here. So this one has now sprouted. Yeah, I need to do some more weeding after all the rain. Cucumbers are blooming and growing and starting to climb the trellis. There's the pantyhose I've put on here for static electricity. And I've got a copper coil right there. So yep, the cucumbers are doing good. The peppers, I've got a copper coil right here between these two. The plants don't seem to be growing very big, but you can see all this new growth coming out. And that one has bloomed and starting to form peppers. And the one over here already has a little pepper on it. If I can get it in the frame. The hot peppers are the same. They're not growing really tall, but they're already producing peppers. That one has little peppers growing on it. That one has one, and I just picked this one to take in for Joe to eat with his supper. The tomatoes are really doing good. Most all of them already have tomatoes forming on them. Some are bigger than the other. There's another coil, Electroculture coil. More tomatoes down this row. This row is nothing but tomatoes. And again, my shadow is getting in the way. I'm coming the wrong direction here. And then the rest of the garden are potatoes. Or the garden is potatoes. Look at all those rows of potatoes. That's going to be a lot of digging up potatoes when the time comes. The purple coneflowers are starting to bloom out and looking pretty. My hibiscus that I bought from Lowe's on the half price or the clearance rack are looking good. Look at the blooms. Okay, the sun is coming in. Aren't those beautiful? So I put them in this copper pot. And my snake is doing a pretty good job of keeping the birds off of the chairs in the porch. Okay, I have made 7 more copper coils, and I'm going to go place them in the garden in different places where I don't feel like the plants are getting the benefit from the antennas. They're not in the range that it's reaching, so I'm going to put more coils in there to see if we can get those growing better. Well, I'm back in the kitchen with you guys today, and it's a chilly, rainy day here in Tennessee, and Joe and I just finished a cup of our cozy coffee, and that was the last 2 cups that I had made up. So I'm going to make a fresh batch, and I thought I'd just bring you all in and show you how I do it. Now, this recipe I stumbled on last winter, and Joe and I have drank it all through the winter. It's so good and delicious and just makes you feel so warm and cozy. So that, I guess that's the reason for the name Cozy Coffee. So I found this recipe on another YouTuber channel, and I think it's called The Farmer's Pastor's Wife. She has a YouTube channel you can check out, and I make mine a little different. I don't put so much sugar in it. I use stevia instead, but that's really the only difference in hers and the way I do mine. So to start with, I'll tell you the ingredients you need. Of course, you need sugar, and I do put a little sugar in there because it tends to take that bitter taste of the stevia away. So I use a mix of stevia and sugar. You need a non-dairy creamer powder. You need some instant hot chocolate, some instant coffee, we use decaf, and some cinnamon. And that's all you need. So to start with, I'm going to put my sugar in the bowl, and it calls for 1.5 cups of sugar. So I use only 1/2 cup of sugar and then 1 cup of stevia. So I'll go ahead and put the stevia in. This is a 1/4 cup measuring cup. I'll put 4 of these in here. That's 1 cup of stevia and 1/2 cup of sugar. Again, this is a 1/4 cup measuring cup, so I'll put 2 in here. Okay, then you need 2 cups of the non-dairy powdered creamer, and you can use any brand you want. I've used the store brands, it works fine. So that's 2 cups of non-dairy creamer. I may have to use a different, it's kind of small in there with this indentation of the handle here, so I'll use this 1/2 cup measurement. That works better. There's 1/2 cup, 1 cup, 1.5, and 2 cups. Finally got that on there. Then you need 1.5 cups of hot cocoa powder, and I'm using the Swiss Miss brand. And again, that's 1.5 cups hot cocoa powder. I'll go ahead and use this same measuring cup. It's a 1/2 cup measuring cup, so there's a 1/2 cup, 1 cup, 1.5. Now you need the instant coffee, and you use 1.5 cups plus a little bit more. I like just a little bit more than that. So I've had this Folgers in the freezer, and there's just a little left. I'm going to go ahead and use it first. Ooh. That's a heaping 1 cup. And a 1/2 cup. And that's not going to quite make the 1/2 cup, so I'll use some of this other that I have here. So that was 1 heaping full cup plus a 1/2 cup into instant coffee. Now you use cinnamon, and it calls for 1 heaping teaspoon. And there, it's 1 big heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. And then you just take this stuff over here out of the way. Take a whisk and whisk all this together. And just store it in an airtight container. And then when you want a cup of delicious, cozy coffee to take the chill off your bones, you just drag out this airtight container, and you use, if you're using a large mug, I'll show you our mug, you use about 4 tablespoons in a cup of hot water. And then you add whatever flavored creamer you like to that. And I like to use the no sugar French vanilla as our favorite. So when you mix it all together, I store it in an empty coffee container. And I think there might be a little bit left for another cup. So I may just go ahead and make this for you guys. I keep a coffee measuring cup, and it's about 4 tablespoons. Yeah, that's going to make a good cup. So I'll make a cup and show you how we do it. Okay, I have heated up a large mug of hot water. And this is probably 10 to 12 ounce mug. And I only filled it up not quite to the top because you need room for your coffee and creamer. So I put in probably 3 tablespoons for that size. And you just stir it up till it's good and dissolved. And I add the French vanilla 0 sugar creamer, as much as you like. Now, you can use a handheld frother, if I said that right, and get that milk good and frothy. Yeah, frothy. But I filled my cup up too full. So if I try to do that, it will just come out. I would need a bigger mug to do that. but it makes it a little bit extra special when you do that. But it's just as delicious just as it is. Delicious. So y'all make up a batch and enjoy it, okay? Well, we had a pretty good thunderstorm night before last and lots of rain, so I've not been able to get in the garden, and it beat these potato sprouts down pretty good. And they're blooming, and I need to get in here and snip the blooms off. So I'm going to try to do that this morning. And the reason you snip the blooms off is that way they're not putting all of their energy into making blooms, and the energy goes back down to make bigger potatoes. So that's what I'm going to do this morning. Out on this end, they're not too bad. But you go find the bloom and you follow the stem down to where it sprouts off the other stem, and you just snip it close by there, like right here. So I'm going to go on down the row and try to get these snipped off this morning. Okay, I got all the flowers clipped off. I see one I missed here. On these first 2 rows, the other 2 haven't bloomed yet, so I'll get those later. And the garden's doing good. The electroculture seems to be working. Very pleased with that. I just tied up more tomatoes, and overall I'm just very pleased. So we'll give you an update in a few more weeks.